I'm so delighted to be here for several reasons. One of the reasons is that I'm faced with a couple of things that I'm looking at today as a human being, and I'm wondering what my skills and talents can do to have an impact. There's 7 billion people around the world today. And of those 7 billion, a few of us have been selected to find solutions to problems that they face on a daily basis. Not because we're smarter, not because we're much more wealthier, not because we are better dressed, but because we have been given the challenge to solve problems globally. And here, in this particular space, we have a couple of things to think about. In economics, they're what we call the factors of production. And those factors, some say they're 5, some say they're 4, but I'll go through them in a quick minute. The first factor is land or resources. The second factor is technology. The third factor is capital. The fourth factor is labor. Of the 4, one of them is smarter than all of the other 3. Guess which one that is? Land? Nope. Labor, which is you. And if one of those factors, which is labor, is not healthy, is not educated, is not given the opportunity to do good with gender equality and all the other things, it is hard to then exploit the other 3 with intellect. So if human beings are not given the chance to be smart, to be educated, to be healthy, then we poorly exploit the other 3. And the other 3 depend on us, labor, to have the intellect, the smart, the spirituality, the emotional intelligence to do good. And so what I see in the 7 billion people around the world is that those factors of production that have been empowered to be exploited by the other one are poorly exploited today. And that's why we're looking at these SDGs. And so for me, as I was growing up as a child, I wondered, what is it about us as human beings, especially as adults, that doesn't understand our function around those 3 other factors? So what do? We deny climate change. We deny poverty. We discriminate against women. We discriminate against the disability problems that we have around the world. We are racist. We believe in religion to such an extent that we are able to kill our fellow human beings because we think our God is greater than the other gods. And so as I look at us as human beings globally, I wonder whether we understand our role within those 4 factors of production. And because of this ignorance, we are underperforming. In fact, it's funny to me that we think that we've done so well. We think we've built skyscrapers and we have iPads and iPhones and phone systems and all that stuff. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, we are underperforming. And because of this ignorance, because of this hatred between us, because of this lack of organization, we are over-consuming and we're over-exploiting the other 3 factors of production. And so in my little world, as Derreck Kayongo, I figured I should do something to overperform. And my little world had to do with something this. I grew up with a father who made soap. I never thought soap was important. I took it for granted. And then I became a refugee and saw the need for soap. As parents, mothers especially, bore children and died in 2 weeks because of what? Lack of good hygiene. And then I saw the importance of soap. Then I come to this country, and guess what? We're throwing away soap. Hotels throw away, as I said yesterday, 800 million bars of soap annually. That is 2.6 million bars of soap every single day. And so, rather than complain, Because we're very good at complaining as human beings. We love to complain. We love to critique. We love to say, it's not good, it's not well done. Blah, blah, blah. Do something. Impose yourself and your talents. I tried to build a business around recycling soap. And the first thing I ran into was the first comment by my son. He said, "You're going to recycle soap? Yuck." Who does that? Who's going to use that? It's amazing how the yuck factor in our lives has dominated who we are. We're good at yucking everything. So if we recycle, it's yuck. If we try to do new businesses, ugh. But you know what? In the yuck factor is exactly where the magic happens. Because if you can figure out how to recycle soap and kill the germs on the bars of soap without altering the chemistry of that soap, then you have a real business. And so what I did was to figure out, how do you recycle soap? How do you kill the germs on that soap that you've used in the hotels without altering the chemistry of the soap? And it came to me that so many times we think that the way to solve problems, we have to have billions of dollars. We have to have a lot of big connections. But sometimes the answer is right, what? Beneath your nose. How many of us are thinking so big and thinking so much out of the box, because that's the Western tradition, yeah? Think outside the box. That we've gone so far away from the box, it's time to come back inside the box. You've gone too far. And so I came back into the box, and I found that little answer inside the box. I want to invite you back into the box. There's small answers that live in the box. And for me, it was a young man that actually found a way to preserve meat. And they created a little contraption where you put a piece of meat, suck the air out of the bag, and create what? A vacuum. And guess what? Germs don't do very well in what? Vacuums. Because if you go back to biology, they're like you and I. They love to breathe and eat and dust the Macarena. And when I saw that little contraption, I said, oh my goodness, that's how exactly it happens. The organic way of killing germs is the African way of what? Creating vacuums. So I created a little vacuum bag, crushed the soap, put the soap in the bag, waited for 2 weeks, went back, took it to the lab. They tested the bag. They said, what did you do to kill the germs without altering the chemistry of the soap? I said, are they all dead? He said, yes, all of them are dead. I said, oh, well, if you give me the patent, I'll tell you the how. Small solutions lie before us to big problems. In conclusion, if you're a company, if you're a business, find a cause that relates close to your what? Your mission in your business. It will be easier for you to do the work that you need to do. The future of the 7 billion requires us to be engaged. And if a young boy from Africa can come to the United States and build a business, then you have no pretext. You have no excuse. So as I leave you today, I want to tell you that when you give people a chance, I call those investors. You guys call investors people who give you dollars. In my tradition, investors are people who take time out of their lives to put inside your work, inside your life, something meaningful. And I have 4 investors. The first one was my mom and dad, who invested in me. Just like Ravi has had his parents invest in him, I had parents that invested in me. And I love mummies and daddies that invest in their children. Good habits, good morals, the respect for the other. Then I had a missionary woman from Pittsburgh who left her cozy life to come and invest in African refugee kids, Marge Campbell. She did such a great job that she forgot to come back for checkups in the US. And I lost Marge to ovarian cancer. She invested in me, and Marge knows that I'm here talking to you because of her investment. Then I had a gentleman who paid $240,000 for me to go to school in the US, to one of your elite schools. Can you imagine that? $240,000 were invested in me to go to school. That's an investment. And for that person to see me win the CNN Heroes Award in 2011 as one of the 10, for me to put together the Global Soap Project, for me to graduate from school, for me to be this handsome now, that's the reward for all of you who are investors. That you have a Derreck who creates jobs, who gets an education. You bring dignity to me and my people by investing in the 7 billion. So as you go out there, I don't have much solution for you because you have to be your own investigator and figure out what you can do to bring to the table. But I can guarantee you, if you become an investor today, not just through money, but by investing through people and loving people globally, our 7 billion people around the world, especially women and girls, will make those goals vanish. Thank you, and God bless you.